Yes. Hi everyone. A very good evening to all of you. I hope that all of you are doing good. Uh, Hi Madhu. Yes. Oh, okay. Yes, Madhu, please tell me. You have a doubt in the previous class. Console.log will print on the log actually. Alert will print on the like once you click on that, it will be like a pop-up will be that will be coming on onto the screen now. Yes, Madhu. You have a doubt in this for loop. This is a variable that you have defined with a closure, right? This is like a asynchronous callback, Madhu. Can I explain how it works? Yes, Madhu, definitely. So if you see that we have a for loop which has been defined I equal to 0 to 3, right, Madhu? That means I value will start from 0 and will go up to 2 only, right? Because once the I value will become 3, the condition will become false, right? So the value will remain true for I equals to 0, I equals to 1, I equals to 2. That means we are expecting this to work for 3 number of times. Do you understand first of all? I equal to 0, I equal to 1, I equal to 2. That we might be expecting, right? Output to be because we have set timeout also function which I'm printing I also in that, right? But with the 1 second, with the 1 second gap. Now, if I would be having simple loop, I would expecting 0, 1, 2. But here in this case, you actually see I have a gap of 1 second. That's very clearly written. So set time is a asynchronous function. So the callback run after the loop is finished. And where we have is the function scope also, which we have defined. We have a set time function with the callback runs for 1000 millisecond and the loop has already been completed, right? First of all, this is the reason that once we are going to run this, we are expecting the answer to be 0, 1, 2, but as it was having a gap of 1 second, so my actual output will remain 3 in all the three cases. So I will be printing 3, I will be printing 3, I will be printing 3 in all the cases. Okay. This is the explanation. But while I use let instead of where, yes, that is one catch in that now. Using let instead of where creates a new I for each iteration. In previous, we are having a where, right? When we are having a where, that is a function scope, not a blocked scope, right? So with the function scope, there is only one I which is shared across all the iterations. This is reason once the loop get completed, I value will remain 3. And every time it is going to print 3 because where is a function scoped. While I'm using let creates a new I, new this I integer for each iteration. That means its value will start from 0 always, right? So for each I, then we might can expect a different output in that case because every time it will have 0. So it will be 1, then new variable, then this is the answer for your question. Okay, Madhu? Does it make sense? Perfect. That's great. Okay, so I hope all of you are good. Welcome back to this session again. And I hope you are doing well. So in the today's class, we'll be talking about few important things here. Mm, Two things that we'll be talking here. Three things if we'll get time, right? We'll cover. Otherwise, we'll cover in the next class because I want to focus more importantly on the topics which are very important. That's why it's okay if it takes some time. We do the practice and eventually at last we'll apply all the things also in a project also which is required, right? So in this class, we'll be talking about importantly about this JavaScript, uh, event loops and micro tasks which are there, right? Okay. Now for this, obviously, we first need to understand a bit theoretically that what are JavaScript event loops and what are this micro tasks we call it as, okay? So JavaScript runs in a single thread and thread is a single lightweight process which executed very fast. So JavaScript runs in a single thread only, right? but it also handles, very importantly, asynchronous task also, like you talk about set timeout function and other things, but using the event loop only. Okay. So JavaScript runs in a single thread, but it also handle asynchronous task using the event loop that we talk about. So in the event loop, what we are expecting? Yes, we are expecting a call stack. That means when we are going to run the JavaScript, we are going to talk about running that functions. Like one of the function we talk about set timeout function, right? Or document object model events which are there, right? Called as callback queue, task queue we call it as, right? So in this class, first of all, I'll be talking about event loop for this JavaScript, in which I'm going to explain you that how these asynchronous tasks are occurring in what order and how this call stack and callback queue are being created, right? Asynchronous. Okay. Like Madhu, when I say synchronous, it means everything happening in a sequence. Like I'll say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is a synchronous task. I know that after 1, 2 will come. After 2, 3 will come. After 3, 4 will come. Like in a loop, we were expecting 0, 1, 2, 3. That was synchronous task. But asynchronous task or asynchronous that we are talking about, that means the things are not in any order, right? Like anything can happen in a different order based upon that answer, right? Based upon that question. This is the reason we call as asynchronous task. That means any of the tasks which can happen at every time. For example, if I'm teaching, in between, any student can ask a question also, right? It's not like that, na? That I'll complete the topic first, then the student will ask any doubt. That is synchronous. But if I'm expecting that I'm teaching, in between, any interrupt can come, then we call it as asynchronous. That means any other task which can come in between and it runs. So for this, we have callback queue that holds the set timeout, because we are doing is what? We are actually uh, we are actually using this function to provide a breakout in between, right? And once it goes on a break for, like, we talk about 1000 milliseconds, any other process can start in between, right? So this is what we talk about using the set time out, holding it for the event loop. It means perform randomly in the range. Yes, you can also do say that, right? Depend upon what other tasks are there, Madhu, right? Okay. So micro task you hold dot then from the promises and queue micro task, etc. Other functions which run before the task also, right? I would like to explain that with the help of example so that you can understand what actually I'm talking about with the asynchronous and handling all these different things which we are talking about, right? So let me just create a file and HTML file. And here, the very first thing we are talking about, JavaScript event and this micro task. Okay. So let me just give the title as same so that you can understand. So here we are expecting to have a script, and that is what we need to create. Okay. So one thing which we are going to use here, we are going to use the event loop, call stack, callback queue, and micro task queue also. Call stack queue, where JavaScript run functions, simple functions we talk about. Callback queue, which holds the set timeout function, and micro task queue, which hold dot then that we have done in the last class promise, right? In which these kind of things runs before the task. That is why we are talking about asynchronous terms, right? Let's consider that in the body part, let me just write any paragraph, or let me just define one of the heading also, right? Okay. And for this, let me write just some text, open the console to see the event loop. Okay. Let me close that. This is just simply text which I'm writing it here. Very simple. In the script part, I am first using console.log. And in that console.log, I would like to print script started. Okay, SCRIPT script started. Okay. Then I would like to use the set timeout function. I hope the spellings are correct. SETTIMO should be small. Set timeout function. Okay. One statement I've written in the script is to print simple uh, this line on the console. Okay. And one I'm using set timeout function, which is nothing, just my that I'm talking about is my callback queue, right? So set timeout function I'll be using, for which I need to define the parenthesis, obviously, right? And that's uh, I will be using my arrow function to define that. Okay. And for that, we have to write the body of this. Set timeout function, first parameter is a function, which I'm defining it here, right? Okay. That's why I'm using the arrow function to define the function and using the this curly brackets to define the statement for this. In this, I'll be printing again console.log and let me print 4 dot. This is just a number I'm giving. That is my set timeout callback. Okay. This is just I'm writing it here, which is nothing, just my task queue, right? Any statement which I'm printing it here, right? And once my function body finishes, I would like to have second parameter and I would like to give here the time. And let's suppose in this, I'll be giving 0 here, 0 millisecond time, right? I don't want to wait. Third thing I would like to have set timeout. Sorry, that's okay. That is the just statement. Now we can like write anything in here. It will not make any difference. Okay. Third thing I would like to have a promise, right? That we have created. I hope you remember promise, error, and resolve, reject two we have created in the previous class. I hope you remember that. So promise dot, I would like to have a resolve, right? Perfect. Great, Madhu. So promise, I would like to have one resolve. Okay. That is the promise I would like to have resolve dot then. Okay. Which I want to use. Again, with dot then, I would like to describe one function, arrow function, with which we want to set the parenthesis. And I would like to say here console.log. I want to print some statement 3 dot. And I want to say this is a promise callback. Okay. Which is nothing, just my micro task queue. Okay, this is what I want to say. And in the promise dot then, I am finishing here with the semicolon. Third function which I have taken. And again, I would like to have console.log and I simply want to print 2 dot and another statement I want to print script end ends here, right? Semicolon. This is I want to have. This is the script which I have created. And one statement script started. Second, I have a set timeout function, which is nothing my task queue. And third is my promise dot resolve, which we are using dot then to create another statement here. And we are printing script end here. Now here I have told you there are key queues, three queues I am using, right? One is call stack where JavaScript run functions. Second is callback queue, which is nothing my task queue, set timeout function. And third is micro task queue, which we are creating using promise dot then, which run before the task. Okay, very important thing, which run before the task. So here, you guys tell me, I have four things: console.log, set timeout, promise.resolve, and console.log. Can you tell me when I'm going to run this script, what is the first thing which is going to print? Can you tell me what is the first thing that is going to print on the console? Anybody in the classroom? What is the first thing that it is going to print? 3. Okay. Why, Madhu? Why 3? That is going to print. It run before the task. It run before the task queue, Madhu. When I say task, which means task queue, it runs before the task queue actually, Madhu. So eventually, so it need to print the first statement. That is very simple. We have script started. Is it okay? The order is yes. It has to be in the order, right? So order should be 1, Eventually the order should be, we are expecting 1, 3, 4, 2, right? But you understand, I told you the key queues that we are using. The very first thing, the very first thing in the event loop, it is going to run is the call stack. Call stack is where my JavaScript run the function. So this is my first thing. This is my second thing. So Madhu, we are expecting whatever the things which are there and other participants also in the class. I hope you are listening to me. The very first thing we are going to do, it is going, the JavaScript is going to run the functions, Madhu, right? That is console.log and this console.log. So we are expecting that. After this, we have in the event loop, we have micro task and task queue also. So I'm expecting to print set timeout after that. But as we have one promise dot then, which is nothing just a, which is nothing but the micro task, and these micro tasks run before the task queue. So we are expecting the order to be 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is what I am expecting. Perfect. So let me just open this in the browser and let me try out and check if there any kind of error is there or not, so that we can understand it well, right? Let me share my screen with you guys also. I hope it is visible. So let me right click, inspect. Let me go to console, and you see we are expecting script started, script ending. My micro task will run first and then my task queue will run first. Okay. If we are not going to see anything, if we are not going to say anything, consider that I do not have these things which are there. Let me just print. Yeah, this one. So this. So then in that case, what will happen? It will be printing in the same order. Very simple, right? JavaScript run the function. Is it okay? So I am expecting here 1, 2, 3. Is it okay? Same order that it is printing, right? This is what we are expecting it to do in the same order that is there. Is it okay? Fine. What if I'll change it to above? That's also fine. If I'll change it to above, same order it will run. JavaScript run the function first of all. Is it okay? After that, we are having these things. We are having two tasks. One is task queue, which is nothing, just my set timeout function and other document object models. And one we have is the promise that we are using micro task queue, which we are expecting to, which we are expecting it that it will run before the task queue. That is what the concept I wanted to explain it to you. Event loop. Now here what we are having, we are not having synchronous task, Madhu, right? It is handling a event loop. With that, it is also handling the asynchronous task. That means any task which can occur before that also asynchronously randomly, and this is how it is supposed to handle that. Is it okay? So in that, what I will be expecting, same, I'll be expecting 1, then I'll be expecting 3, then I'll be expecting 2, then I will be expecting this. Let me change it to 5, and then I am expecting 4. So my order will be 1, 3, 2, then it should be 5, then it should be 4. This is what we are expecting in the event loop and micro tasks. Is it okay with this example? Is it helpful to you guys? Is it understandable? Any kind of doubt to anyone present in the classroom? Yes. Can you please tell me? Yeah, perfect. What about other students? Yes, there are other 16 participants in the classroom. Can you please respond? Is it okay with everyone? Shall we move forward? Okay, then it's perfect. Next thing that we want to talk about is using asynchronous and await effectively. This is the next we have to work on. So what is this concept? Now, when we talk about this concept, that means we are talking about asynchronous functions always return a promise. Yes, Madhu, please tell me what is your doubt? Yes, I'm waiting for you, Madhu. Please tell me. Yes, Madhu. Good. Hello, am I audible to you, Madhu?
Yes, sir. Sir, am I audible?
Okay. Yes, Madhu, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Hello, hello,
Sir,
hello. Am I audible? Hello, hello. Yes, Madhu, can you please tell me what is your doubt? Okay, so you want to know what are all micro tasks? Okay, so so Madhu, when we are talking about this micro task queues, so in JavaScript, micro task queues are special types of queue callbacks which are executing right. We'll say after currently executing your script. Like I was telling you, we have a console.log, right? And we have a set timeout function also, right? And we have other things also which are there. So in JavaScript, micro task queues are the special queues of callback, and these are going to execute right after the current executing script. That means before your set timeout or input output anything, all micro tasks are being processed. What are micro task queues? Like promise dot then, promise dot catch, promise dot finally, asynchronous wait. They all are going to execute before your set timeout function, set timeout callback. They are going to execute before your set timeout call. Apart from this, whatever the your script is, they are going to execute as per the sequence order after executing the JavaScript functions. The micro tasks are the special queues which are going to execute first of all before any set timeout or input output, which are nothing just your promise dot then, promise dot catch, promise dot finally, all micro tasks or asynchronous wait that we use. This is the purpose that we use. Is it okay? Is it fine? Make sense now, Madhu? Perfect. So talking about the next thing we have is asynchronous and await. How to use that? Asynchronous functions always return a promise. This is first thing you learn or you keep in your mind. Asynchronous functions always return a promise. Always return a promise. And we have await, that is nothing. So await is the one which are going to do what? They are going to pause the function until promise is resolved. Now promise might can have a rejection also, right? So await is going to help us pausing the function until promise is getting resolved. Until unless the promise is not resolved, await will help us pausing the function. It makes a asynchronous code looks like behaving like synchronously. Okay. So there are two things that we use, asynchronous and await. Asynchronous function always going to return a promise and await is going to help us in pausing a function until the promise is getting resolved, which will help us in understanding that resolve will occur first and then rejection. Okay. In that order. So which eventually will is asynchronous, but behaving like a synchronous code to us. Okay. This is the reason we use asynchronous and await to make any asynchronous task looks like it's a synchronous task. Let's dive into the concept and try to understand it with the help of an example. Okay. So let me write the code. And here we are talking about the concept of asynchronous and wait. And we have to write here as the script also. And there I will help you in explaining that what actually I'm talking about, right? Consider a scenario that you are writing a function, okay? Very simple thing that we are talking about. Consider a scenario that what you are doing, you are going to write a function. Do you know how to write a function? I think very simple. We create function, then we create the name of the function. Yes, Madhu, okay. Let's suppose I would like to take the name of the function as delay. Okay. Very simple thing. You can keep any name, just taking any name, right? In that function, I am passing one of the parameter as ms. Okay. You can take any variable name. That's fine. So I already mentioned you that what happens, asynchronous function always return a promise. So we are expecting it to return a promise. Is it okay? So return new promise. And in this promise, I would like to return is the resolve for which I'm setting the set timeout function that will call the resolve and take the parameter ms, which is whatever the time it takes. Okay. And let me put semicolon here. And that's my function. So there is one function delay I'm having, which has one parameter ms. It is going to return me the promise with the resolve set timeout and taking ms as a parameter. This is my function that I'm using, right? Then I would also like to have asynchronous that we write that function. Okay, async function. Let me say I'll just use a function here, do underscore step to perform some of the tasks to it, right? Okay, this is just a function that I'm taking to perform some tasks. Let's suppose I'll say console.log. I would like to create here first task to print. Let's suppose this is my step one. semicolon. Okay. Then I want it to await. This is what we are talking about, await. And I want await to call the delay function with the time of 1000 millisecond in that. Is it okay? Then I again would like to take a console.log and I would want it to print step number 2. Do you understand? Very simple thing I'm doing. Step 2, but that after 1 second. Okay, we have 1000 millisecond. That means we are expecting a gap of 1 second. Again, I want to call delay with 1000, right? And then again, I would like to print here console.log, and that is to print step 3 after 1 second. Is it okay? After one more second. This is what we are talking about. Or generally we say 2 seconds that you can sum it up. This is just a statement I'm writing, nothing else. So two functions I've created here, and let me call my function do underscore steps so that it will work. Now you tell me guys, if I'm going to call this function do steps, what is going to be happen? I think this function is going to call first, and this is we are expecting it to print. This is we are expecting it to print here what? Can you tell me? This is we are expecting it to print what? Can you tell me guys? Yes. What we are expecting it to print? Console output. What is the output that we are going to having? In order step 1, step 2, step 3. Okay. So while I am going to run, this is going to help me in understanding that whatever the things which are been done, it has been done in an order. Step 1, step 2, step 3. If I'll refresh that, step 1, step 2, step 3. After 1 second, each statement is getting printing. After 1 second, each statement is getting printing. After 1 second, can you see that? So the task which was asynchronous, the task which was asynchronous, await has put a await has done what? Await actually has done what? It has actually let your function wait, and to make it look like that it is a and to make look like that it is a synchronous task. So console.log is the first step which runs immediately. Then await delay 1000. It is going to pause for 1 second using set timeout in which the value is going to be passed, and it is going to run after the first delay, that is step 2. Then again second await, that will pause for another second, and then afterwards it is going to run step 3 after 2 seconds in total. So you get step by step output with the delay just because of asynchronous slash await, which makes the asynchronous code behave like a synchronous one. This is the reason we use this asynchronous and we use this await in order to make the things happen in a synchronous way. This is what we are talking about, asynchronous and await. Is it okay? Is it make sense? So now for any code having asynchronous task, you can use asynchronous await. It can make it look like a synchronous task. This this concept in the JavaScript very frequent. Is it okay, everyone? Any doubt, any kind of concern, Madhu? Any confusion? Any confusion to anyone else? Instead of we can using synchronous. Yes, yes, Madhu, you can also use that. Okay. See, now what is the point if I'll be using that? To understand that, one thing which is very important, because JavaScript handles the concurrency first of all. Okay, Madhu, right? You can use, but the point is, with respect to other programming languages that we are talking about, Python, Java, in which we are in Python, we have the concept of time that we can use, right? Sleep function we can use. In Java also, not JavaScript, I'm talking about Java. We have threads concepts also, right? Which we can put it to sleep also, right? But in JavaScript, we cannot use sync and sleep, okay? Like other programming languages. It's not possible because JavaScript runs in a single thread environment, okay? And if I'm going to block the main thread with the sleep function, then everything will become freeze now. So there is no native for sleep function in JavaScript that can pause the um, other things synchronously without freezing your browser. This is the reason we are using await delay, right? This is the reason. So in JavaScript, just because of the point that Madhu, that it is a single threaded. That is the reason if I'm going to use sleep, it is going to sleep my main thread. That means my main window become closed, and that is the reason we are not supposed to use that. Okay, I hope I was able to give answer to your question. I hope it is fine. Now let's talk about another concept that we have to work upon is to do what? Is to handle the errors in synchronous and asynchronous and wait. Okay. How we can handle the errors? Very simple. Use try catch to catch the errors, and then we can use cleaner then dot catch, which is available to us. Okay, dot catch that helps us in chaining in promises. Okay. So in this, we are expecting to handle the errors. We are expecting to handle the errors. How we are expecting? Using try catch, simple thing, right? In asynchronous functions. And for this, we are also going to use dot catch that chains in the promises. So let's first of all try to write a code and try to understand with the example that what actually I'm expecting to achieve with this. Okay. So let me have a HTML code, and the concept that we are talking about is handling errors. So let me write a script here. Okay. And in this, we are expected to create functions. So let's start with the very first thing. Let me create a function here, get underscore data. Any name I'm giving, right? Okay, just for the purpose, right? Nothing else. Let me have a variable here, s underscore fail. Okay. Let me want this function to return a new promise, which is nothing, just two arguments. One is resolve, one is reject. Okay. And that we are expecting to have an arrow function for which we are describing the body of it, right? So we are going to have set timeout. Set timeout again. First parameter, the function which I am defining in the set timeout. Condition I'm writing if this s underscore fail, this parameter, okay, true or false, that we are expecting it to. Okay. If it is true, right, then what we are going to do? Yes, we are expecting it to uh one second. So this is for set timeout, this is for this, and this is for this. We have three already, right? One, two, three opening, one, two. Yes. So let me write if s underscore fail, then I'm expecting something. Now what I'm expecting? I'm expecting here to call the reject, which says failed to fetch data. Okay, I'll explain that also. One second. After if, I would also like to have one else part. In the else part, I would like to call the resolve and with say data is fetched, right? This is I'm expecting. This is inside my set timeout function. Okay. And I also would like to have, this is my first parameter. So this is for, this is my if, this is my else part. This is where set timeout function will end here and with 1000 gap. And I would like to put here semicolon. I would also like to put semicolon on this promise function, and that's where my entire function will end this part. Okay, this is what I'm expecting. Simple function I've taken one parameter. It is going to return me new promise, two parts, resolve as well as reject. And I'm going to create set timeout function. If it fails, then it is going to call reject, otherwise resolve with 1000 gap. Now this is my function. Apart from this, I would also like to have another function, asynchronous function. Okay, right? Asynchronous function. I would like to have async function. Okay, let me say load underscore data. Previous was get underscore data. Now I am taking just any function load underscore data. I'm using here try catch to handle the errors. Okay, let's suppose I am having a code. Let's suppose I'm defining a constant result equals to, and I'll say await, and I'm going to call my function which is get underscore data. Okay, and with that, how much value I would like to put? I would say true here in that case. Is it okay? So here set the false to succeed. This is what I'm doing. Okay, I'm going to question. Okay, I've taken one constant result in which I'm calling the await to call this get underscore data by putting true here. Once true will here, if it is true, then means it is going to call the reject. It will print fail to load the data, right? We have set it false to succeed that. I would also like to print something here after this statement, that is console.log. And in the console.log, I would like to print something. Let's suppose I would like to print the value of this result. Okay, that I will get based upon if else condition, either reject or resolve. That is what it is going to print. Is it okay? I would also like to have one more, that is console.log, and not console.log. Let me have console.error actually, right? In case it caught any error. So caught error. Let me print, and let me do one thing. Let me print here is the error. Okay. So what I'm going to do, if I'm expecting any kind of error in that, I am expecting it to put in the try. Try is the code. Try, we are going to put in the code where I'm expecting to have any errors. Try, we are going to put on the code where we are expecting to have any errors. And then with that, we use catch to handle the error also. So this is what I'm writing to handle the errors. Very simple case. Okay, that we are doing. So my function starts from here. This is, it starts. This is my try that will end here. This is my catch that will end here. And that's where it is going to end my function. We are having an extra bracket, right? This is what we are doing. So on the code, we are expecting to have an error. I have put it in the try. Other, in order to handle that, we are using catch. And there's one more block that we have. We can put it as finally also. Do you know for what purpose we use finally? I think finally is the one which says that it will run in all the cases, right? Irrespective of your try catch is working, this finally block will always run at the end. Am I right? This finally block will always run at last. Am I right? Yes. Is it okay for you guys to understand? For closing file data field mostly, yes. Perfect. That's great. So I've used this asynchronous function loading the data. It is going to first call the get data and passing the true here value, right? So if it is true, it is going to call reject, and that value is going to store here, and that it is going to print, right? So we are done with that function. Let me just call load underscore data function so that we'll start with the progress and we'll understand that what output we are expecting from this example, right? So from this example, if a very simple case, if I'll be talking about that, what I am expecting or what output that we are expecting, it actually explaining us to handle the errors using asynchronous wait with try catch finally, right? The function is going to start with the network call. If this s underscore get is true, then what we are getting, if this s underscore f fail is true, then it is going to print a reject, but after 1 second. Do you agree with that, Madhu? Is it okay? Right? If we are going to pass true, it is going to print reject with the gap of 1 second in that, right? But in case this value is false, then in that case, else will work. Then it will call resolve, but again successfully after 1 second, right? In the second portion, we have taken a asynchronous function, right? So you can use await. It tries to call the get underscore data true, but that will throw, because true make it rejected now. It is going to throw an error, obviously, right? Because we are passing true in this case, Madhu, right? If we are passing true in that case, that means it is going to reject. And if it is reject, that means it is an error. And if there is an error, it is going to handle with the catch. So that error is going to handle in the catch, and it is going to print that rejection in that code. And the finally block always run irrespective of success or error that we are having. So we are expecting here that there will be an error. It will code error, and what very good, Madhu. It is will print fail to fetch the data after 1 second. And then finally block is always going to work. So finish loading, it is going to print in that case, right? Is it okay? So in this case, if I'm going to run on the browser, and let me show the browser it to you guys. If I'll open the inspect console, you see after 1 second, it is printing fail to fetch the data and finish loading. Very good, Madhu, right? Your output was correct. Now, can you tell me what will happen in case I'll pass here false? In case I'll pass false, else will work. That means now there is no error. Data is fetched. If there is no error, then catch will not work. Try this will actually work. So it is simply going to print me data is loading, and also going to print me finish loading. So this is what I am expecting here in case we are having this after 1 second. This is how we have used, this is what we have used, how to use asynchronous await, and with that, how we are going to use the try catch to handle the errors and to make it work with my promise. Is it okay? Is it helpful to you guys? We have done await, try, catch finally, and we have understood that uh, how we are handling the errors using asynchronous wait with try, catch, everything. Is it okay? Is it fine for all of you? Understandable? Any doubt? Any confusion? Is it okay, Madhu? Is it helpful to you? You have a doubt? Yes, Madhu, please tell me. Yes, please tell me, Madhu, if you have any doubt. We are setting the time to 1 second, then finish loading should be should print first, right? No, but because this is a function that we are printing, right, Madhu? Okay. So we do have set the time to 1 second, but the point is, it is not going to print finish loading first because it is inside the finally block now, and the finally block of a asynchronous function, right? And that is nothing awaiting a promise, Madhu. Okay. So if I'm going to print it first, like talk about first my constant result, await get data. This line pause the execution inside the load data for 1 second, simply, right? While the get data that we are having promise is still pending. Is it okay? So after 1 second, promise reject. So the control will go to the catch block actually. Okay. And once it goes to the catch block, then finally will run based upon promise is resolved or rejected irrespective of that. Okay. So the point here, what is happening is Madhu, the point here is that it is not going to print finish loading first or other because that is inside the finally block of a asynchronous function, which is again in the awaiting a promise, right? So once your first line is printing, now, once if I'm talking about your code, let me share the screen again. Okay, you got it, but okay, fine. You see, once it is going to print, once it comes here, now, once the control will come here, constant result await that we are talking about, right? Constant result await get data. This line pause the execution inside this load underscore data. Okay. Why it is going to load? Why it is going to wait for 1 second? Because this line is still pending. Because we are using a promise in the get data that is still pending, now waiting for 1 second. So this is over. That is the reason the control will come to the catch and it is going to print the reject first of all, and then afterwards finally it is printing. Is it okay? This is what is happening here. I hope it is fine. Is it okay for all of you now? Perfect. Great. So I've shared all the files. That's it from my side for today's session. I hope it was a good session and easily understandable to all the participants present in the class. I hope I was able to give you the right knowledge. So that's it from my side. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Take care. Good night. And we'll meet again on Monday. Bye bye. Thank you.